The night she walked away, the rain was pouring like the sky itself was grieving. A young mother stood on the sidewalk outside a towering glass building in downtown Manhattan, holding her tiny baby close to her chest. The city lights reflected in puddles around her feet, but she barely noticed. Her eyes were full of tears, and her heart felt heavier than the storm clouds above. Behind those glass walls was a man worth billions. A man who had everything, except the understanding of what truly mattered. She didn't yell. She didn't argue. She simply whispered goodbye, and disappeared into the night. But exactly 1 year later, that same billionaire would receive a hospital call that would change his life forever. Before we begin, if you enjoy heartfelt stories about kindness, second chances, and humanity, make sure to subscribe to our channel Kinkoi's Corner, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your support helps us keep sharing stories that remind the world how powerful kindness can be. Now, let's begin. 1 year earlier, Daniel Whitmore was known as one of the most powerful businessmen in New York. At 42, he owned tech companies, luxury hotels, and investment firms across the country. Newspapers called him a genius. Employees called him intimidating. And those who truly knew him called him distant. Daniel lived in a penthouse overlooking Central Park, where the windows stretched from floor to ceiling. The view was breathtaking, but Daniel rarely looked outside. His life revolved around meetings, deals, and numbers flashing on computer screens. Feelings were inefficient. Kindness, in his opinion, was a luxury for people who had time to waste. That was until Emily Carter walked into his life. Emily was 28, a single mother who had just moved to the city with her newborn daughter, Lily. She had taken a temporary job working in the cafeteria of Daniel's corporate headquarters. Life hadn't been kind to Emily. Lily's father had left before the baby was even born, and the medical bills from the difficult delivery had drained her savings. But Emily had something stronger than money: hope. Every morning, she arrived at work early with Lily sleeping peacefully in a small stroller beside her. She greeted everyone with a warm smile, even when people barely noticed her. One afternoon, something unexpected happened. Daniel Whitmore himself walked into the cafeteria. The executives usually ate in a private dining area upstairs, but a sudden meeting had run late. Daniel hadn't eaten all day. He approached the counter impatiently. "Just coffee," he said. Emily handed him a cup, but before he walked away, Lily began to cry softly. Daniel paused. He looked at the tiny baby in the stroller with mild confusion, as if he were observing a strange new technology. "Your child?" he asked. Emily nodded gently. "She's beautiful," Daniel said awkwardly. Emily smiled. "Thank you." It was the first time Daniel had spoken to her, but strangely, it wasn't the last. Over the next few weeks, Daniel started stopping by the cafeteria more often. At first, it was just coffee. Then short conversations. Emily spoke about Lily's first smile, her sleepless nights, and her dreams of eventually becoming a nurse. Daniel didn't share much about his own life. But he listened. Something about Emily's warmth made the constant pressure of his world feel quieter. Yet Daniel still kept emotional distance. Until one evening changed everything. Emily was finishing her shift when Lily suddenly began crying uncontrollably. Her tiny face had turned pale, and she struggled to breathe. Emily panicked. She didn't have a car, and the nearest hospital was miles away. That's when Daniel appeared. Without hesitation, he grabbed his car keys. "Come with me," he said. Within minutes, they were speeding through Manhattan traffic toward the hospital. Doctors rushed Lily into the emergency room. Emily sat in the waiting area, shaking with fear. Daniel stayed beside her the entire time. For the first time in years, he wasn't thinking about business deals or stock markets. He was thinking about a fragile little life fighting to breathe. After hours of tests, the doctor finally returned with good news. Lily had experienced a temporary respiratory issue. She would recover. Emily burst into tears of relief. Daniel quietly paid the medical bill before she even asked. Emily tried to thank him, but Daniel simply said, "It's nothing." But to Emily, it meant everything. Over the next few months, their connection grew stronger. Daniel helped Emily find a better apartment. He arranged flexible work hours so she could care for Lily. But despite his kindness, there was still an invisible wall around his heart. Emily noticed it. And one night, she realized something painful. Daniel cared for Lily. He respected Emily. But he was afraid to truly love. So Emily made the hardest decision of her life. She packed her belongings, held Lily close, and left the city. She didn't leave a long letter. Only a short message. "Thank you for your kindness, Daniel. But Lily and I need a life built on love, not just generosity." When Daniel found the note, something inside him cracked. But he didn't chase after her. Work swallowed him again. Months passed. Then a year. Daniel rarely thought about the cafeteria anymore. But sometimes, late at night, he remembered Lily's small laugh and Emily's gentle voice. And he felt something unfamiliar. Loneliness. Then one cold winter morning, his phone rang. The caller ID showed a hospital. "Mr. Whitmore," the nurse said urgently. "Yes. We need you to come immediately." Daniel's heart raced. "Why?" he asked. The nurse paused. "A woman named Emily Carter listed you as Lily's emergency contact." Daniel froze. Within minutes, he was racing across the city. When he arrived at the hospital, he saw Emily sitting in the waiting room. She looked exhausted. But when she saw Daniel, her eyes softened with relief. "Daniel," she whispered. "What happened?" he asked, breathless. Emily explained that Lily had developed a severe infection overnight. Doctors needed approval for a procedure, and Emily had no one else she trusted. Daniel looked through the hospital window at Lily lying in the bed. She was bigger now. But still the same little girl he remembered. Without hesitation, he signed the paperwork. The surgery lasted 2 long hours. Daniel and Emily sat side by side in silence. Finally, the doctor returned with a smile. "She's going to be okay." Emily cried again. This time, Daniel hugged her. Not out of politeness, but out of something deeper. Later that night, as Lily slept peacefully, Daniel turned to Emily. "I spent a year thinking about that note you left," he said. Emily listened quietly. "You were right," he continued. "I thought money solved everything. But kindness, real kindness, means showing up when people need you." Emily's eyes filled with tears. Daniel looked at Lily. "I don't want to be the man who only helps from a distance anymore," he said softly. "I want to be part of your lives, if you'll let me." Emily smiled through her tears. "Kindness brought you into our lives once," she said. "Maybe love will keep you here." And for the first time in many years, Daniel Whitmore didn't feel like the richest man in the room. He felt like the luckiest. Because sometimes, the greatest wealth in life isn't found in bank accounts or skyscrapers. It's found in the quiet moments when we choose kindness, when we choose to care, and when we choose to show up for someone who needs us. And that simple choice can change lives forever. If this story touched your heart, remember this. A small act of kindness today might become someone's miracle tomorrow. So wherever you are, take a moment to care, to help, to listen. Because the world always needs more kindness. And kindness always finds its way back home.